What is going on, everyone out there in YouTube land? Today, we have got the newest of the world's favorite pod system. Yes, the Caliburn. There's been so many different versions of it. Well, today I have the latest version coming from UWELL, and it's called the Caliburn X. And I believe the X stands for extra, because this one does have a bit more extra features to it than the original, and also it's a bit extra in size, kind of like an extra large. So I'm guessing that's what the X means. Anyways, presentation box, there you go. I love the way you can actually see the device in the window, so when it's sitting in the shelf, you know exactly what you're buying. And if we look inside of what we get, slide that open. Of course, there's your device. This is the black one. Hopefully we'll get the red one just to look a little better on camera, but there you go. Got one coil pre-installed, one pod, and then you got your spare parts box right here, which I always have a hard time. Oh, there we go. That was easy. And inside the spare parts box, we have, ladies and gentlemen, some seasoning salt, a very short little USB-C charge cable, a second coil head, and that is it. I almost forgot there actually is a user manual under the plastic tray, and if you're kind of new to vaping and pod systems, you might actually want to look at the manual, because once again, this one has some features that you might need help with, but if you watch this video completely, you'll know exactly how to use this and you won't need that user manual. Now we're going to check out the red one just because it looks a little better on camera. These measure in 107 by 27 by 15 millimeters thick. They're constructed of aluminum alloy, and they're still nice and lightweight, weighing in at around 50 grams. Available, once again, 6 different colors. Here's the red one, which is probably my favorite. There's the black one that we did the unboxing on, and they're pretty nice looking. They feel great in the hands with the satin finish. So at the top, we got your rounded off, very comfortable duckbill style mouthpiece. Now, even though I'm more of a fan of a round drip tip, this one is still very comfortable on the lips because everything is kind of rounded off and nice and curved. So it feels natural when you're vaping on it. It doesn't feel awkward. The viewing window is a bit larger on this one because the device is larger, so it's a lot easier to see your liquid level now through the window. And of course, since the device is larger, the pod is larger, the capacity is larger. This one will hold up to 3 mLs of liquid, so you get a bit more out of this. We do have adjustable airflow control. If you look on the side right here, you'll see this little slider, and this does a lot actually. So you can turn this into a super tight mouth-to-lung vape, a loose mouth-to-lung vape, or a restricted direct lung. So that's all that control you have with just this little tiny slider. So it's kind of nice. Now when it comes to filling it up, super easy. I like to call it the crack and fill design because it feels like you're cracking the mouthpiece off. Just take your thumb, just crack it like that. And then there's going to be your fill hole. There's the release hole. Speaking of the pod, it is held in with magnets, some really nice strong magnets. Now, this is a pod system, but you're not replacing the pod on this one. You're actually going to replace the coil head on the inside. Now, they're not using any crazy new coils, so you don't have to go out and buy any special coils for this one, because it's actually using the Caliburn G and the Caliburn G2 coils. So if you have those laying around from a previous device, you can use those. They're going to include the 0.8, which is the original Caliburn G coil, rated 13 to 18 watts. And then you'll get the Caliburn G2 coil, 1.2 ohm. That one's rated 9 to 13 watts. And they also have that 1 ohm G2 coil that you could purchase separately. And removing the coil and doing all that is really simple. All you do is just take your nail and just pull it out like that. One tricky thing though, the bottom of the coil, you'll notice it has a flat edge to it. Make sure you line up that flat edge with the side of the, where it's got that little arrow right there. Because if you put it in the wrong way, you may not even realize it. And then you'll go and you'll drop this in, you'll fill it up, and this thing will leak out everywhere. So you want to make sure that coil is sitting totally flush, as it's not right now. So go ahead and turn it, and just take the flat edge of the coil, put it towards the arrow, and now you can see it's sitting completely flush. Now you can drop it in, go ahead and fill it. And if you're using a coil for the first time, as always, make sure you wait about 5 or 10 minutes after you fill it so you prime the coil. If you don't wait, you're going to get a mouthful of burnt cotton. So a nice feature to the X is that it has auto draw and button draw. So if you like to press the button when you vape, you could do so. If you don't like the button, you could just do auto draw and you can actually disable the button. How do you do that? Well, 1, 2, and you'll see the little lock symbol. Now the button is locked, So if I try to vape it with the button, it's not going to vape. If I do 1, 2, you'll see it unlocks, and now I can use it as a button fire device. And also, while it's unlocked, I can adjust the wattage. How do you do that? If there's no wattage buttons, pretty simple. 1, 2, 3, and you'll see the wattage start blinking, and you can adjust it between 5 to 20 watts, and then once you find your desired wattage, just sit on it for a second, and it'll go into place, and you're ready to go. And of course, with having a button, another nice feature is you get the powered off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that way, if you're not going to use it for long periods of time, you could shut it down, save battery life. And just to give you a little bit closer look at the screen, you can see we've got your battery indicator, your wattage, the voltage being applied, the resistance of the coil attached, and then we got a puff counter there at the bottom. So 2 clicks will lock and unlock, 3 clicks will adjust the wattage, 4 clicks will clear the puff counter, 5 clicks will shut it on and off, or turn it on and off. Now the battery on the inside is a 850 milliamp hour battery, and they're going to do all your charging by the USB-C charge port there at the bottom. I'm not sure if it's a 1 amp or a 2 amp charge. It's not stated anywhere in the specs or on the site, but that is pretty much it, guys. The Caliburn X. All right, we got the Caliburn X. A few things before we get into this. One, I want you guys to comment down in the comment section after watching this entire video, and let me know what your opinion is on how I feel about this. I'm curious. Am I crazy, or is what I'm saying like reasonable and understandable? That's one. Two, it's hot down here. I look moist right now. I don't wear makeup, so I don't have powder, so just deal with it. And three, I've been picking my nose with tweezers. I've been kind of shoving them up there, and I pulled out a bunch of hair, so now my nose is extremely itchy. So if you see me rubbing my nose during the video, it's not because I have a coke problem, it's because I ripped out all my nasal hairs. So with that said, the Caliburn X UWELL, this is the best Caliburn at the moment. And I know you're saying, oh my God, he says that every time he gets a Caliburn, it's the favorite one. This one is the best. It is my favorite, and it's also the best because it's not just 1 or 2. This thing has a bunch of reasons or a bunch of new features to it that make it the best. So for starters, it's using the same coil as all the original Caliburns. Some of you may complain about that, but if you think about it, a lot of other companies always has a new device or a new tank and always coming out with a new coil on top of that, and then all the previous tanks and previous devices become obsolete because they're not making coils for them anymore. So with the Caliburn, by them sticking to the same coil every single time, those coils are always going to be on the market, always in production, and they have a bunch of different devices they work with. On top of that, you're probably thinking, well, if it's not the same coil, it's going to vape just like the previous one, so why am I even going to bother? That is where you're wrong, and I actually thought the same thing. I'm like, okay, it's going to have the same vape. What's the point? Now we have adjustable wattage, which is another new feature to this thing. The previous ones, we were relying on whatever the battery was dumping out, and as the battery would drop, the wattage would drop on most of them anyways. On this one now, since we had the ability to adjust the wattage, we can adjust it between whatever that recommended wattage is. Like for instance, on the 0.8, I can go up to 15 watts. If I were to use this 0.8 on another Caliburn, I may only be getting 10 or 11 or 12 watts. I had no clue what I was getting. So when I pop this 0.8 in here and I vape it at 15 watts or 17 watts, I can notice a night and day difference between that coil. If I drop that same coil into another Caliburn, I'm not saying it's not a good vape, it's a flavorful vape, but you will notice a difference for the better on the X just because you have the ability to adjust the wattage now. So that's genius, and I love the fact that they stuck with the same coils because now those same coils have a completely different flavor to them. I got 25 milligrams of Nic salt in here, and it's just mouth-watering, and it just seems like there's more flavor to it. I'm getting more vapor output, and it's probably because, once again, I'm getting a little bit more power out of it. So I got the airflow wide open, and you can have the airflow extremely tight on here. If you like really tight MTL, or if you like loose MTL, you could probably do a restricted direct lung vape, but I would probably just stick to MTL with this. Anyways, 15 watts. This is probably the best pod vape you are ever going to get right here. That is mouth to lung. That is goodness. Real quick, what is it like with the airflow completely shut off? Wow, that's really tight and really intense on the throat. But man, this flavor is really, really good. Now the mouthpiece kind of, the mouthpiece is comfortable. It's the duckbill style, the rounded off, got its curves on there. The viewing window's larger, easier to see your juice level. The addition of the airflow control is always nice. And like I said, with having the screen, we now have a battery indicator. So we don't have to look at the color of the LED to know what we never knew what the battery life was of these Caliburns. And of course, you got the options of, manual draw, auto draw. You could disable manual. You can lock it. You could power it down. There's so many awesome things with this. More importantly, the easy fill method is still there. I mean, if I can do this and not cause a mess, you guys can probably do the same thing, even if not better. But this is awesome. And like I said, I think the most important thing about this is that it's using the same coils that it's always been using, but yet the vape is so much better now. But that's it. We're done. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you hate the video, too bad. Give it a thumbs up anyways. And I'll see you guys all on the next one. These lights are super bright. Make sure you guys build safe, and as always, vape on.